It's a scary story. Listen carefully. This is no joke. You simply must know this. And I don't understand why this isn't already being shouted at on every channel. Why is everyone keeping quiet? As if nothing is happening. But you know how it usually is. The powers that be are sitting in a tank. They see and hear nothing. They just want to keep their place. So I'm an ordinary person. And I consider it my duty to tell you everything. To open your eyes, so to speak, before it's too late. The thing is, that's it. The belt is gone. Forget about any chance you have of changing anything now, or influencing the situation. As soon as you hear this, you'll hear it right away. Run straight away and board up all the windows with whatever you can. Stock up on all sorts of self-defense tools. Bats, hammers, axes, whatever comes to hand. And pack plenty of food in the fridge, water, matches, candles, everything you need for a rainy day. And most importantly, don't even stick your nose outside, unless you absolutely have to. Unless life forces you to. I can't even imagine how widespread this crap has become across the country. I only know one thing. It's rushing like crazy. And no one can stop it. I think soon our entire vast planet will be covered in this nightmare from one end to the other. I'm sitting here in my miserable one-room apartment on the 5th floor. I didn't think to board up the windows in time. I thought it was some kind of nonsense. But now it's too late. These creatures react to every rustle, immediately running towards the sound at the slightest thing. Like rats to a fishing rod. At least I'm lucky I live quite high up. They can't break glass, apparently. At least I hope not. But I still covered everything with thick blankets. Just in case. So I wouldn't even accidentally see them. Just hearing them is such agony, you can't imagine. My nerves are on edge. They're about to give out. The first really bad thing happened right under my window, in our little park where we used to hang out. Some homeless guy, dirty and ragged, just beat up a girl with his bare hands, crushed her like a watermelon, and then started gobbling her up. He was chomping so loudly. We all naive fools thought he was just some crazy person. He was quickly caught, of course, and we all breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, well, that's it. The nightmares are over. But no way. In the following days it started again, and again, and again, until our quiet town turned into some kind of utter hell. So many people died, it was just terrifying. And we were so hoping they would just stay dead. For 2 long weeks, I sat in my apartment like a prison. Within 4 walls, can you imagine? I didn't go anywhere at all, and all this time I listened to these terrible groans, some kind of guttural growl, and simply heartbreaking screams. I carried it all from the street, cried from helplessness and horror, lay awake at night, prayed, although I don't really believe in such things, but there was no choice. Then it seemed to get quieter. The screams became rare, only when someone tried to escape and got caught right in their clutches. The growling also became less constant, although it could still be heard somewhere in the distance. Literally, a few of these infected passed by the house, staggering like shadows. Sometimes I even peeked through a crack between the blankets, but then jerked myself away. I was afraid to see anything, afraid they would notice me. But then the food ran out. There was absolutely nothing left. Not even crackers. The water was also running out, and I had to do what I considered the only option. I put on my baggiest pants so I'd have somewhere to hide the loot I'd found. I grabbed my old backpack, and my favorite battle. It was the best thing I had for self-defense. I went outside. I had one goal: to find at least some grocery store, and try to loot it. My heart was pounding. My ears were pounding. My mother always taught me to hope for the best, but prepare for the best. So that's what I did. I knew perfectly well that once I left the apartment, my chances of returning alive would be slim. But I had no choice. Either sit in this cage and die of hunger, or risk everything and try to fight them off. Of course I chose the latter. I took a deep breath of that cold street air, until my lungs cramped, pulled the straps of my backpack tighter, picked up my trusty battle, and clutched it with both hands so tightly that my knuckles turned white, carefully turned the doorknob and stepped into the hallway. And nothing. The silence was so eerie it was almost terrifying. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. I think the silence was even scarier than if one of those monsters had suddenly pounced on me. That's when I realized I was completely alone. All the neighbors had fled, abandoned their apartments. I was left alone in this dead city. All around me were hordes of these zombies who would tear me apart. I hadn't contacted my mom or friends for probably 3 weeks, even though I tried calling them many times. I tried to write to them. There was simply no connection. It was as if it had been cut off. I prepared myself for the worst. I tiptoed to the stairs and quietly opened the door, trying not to slam it. I froze. I listened. No grumbling. No groans. No that eerie growl. Nothing like what they usually make all the time. And I began to slowly descend the stairs. Each step creaked, as if on purpose, loudly, as if deliberately giving me away. I reached the exit without any problems. The first and most dangerous stage of my foray was successful. I slightly opened the heavy metal door, and cautiously peered out. All I saw was an old rusty trash can and a brick wall. This was the back of our apartment building. I quickly darted outside, trying to move as quietly as possible, like a shadow, but my stupidity caught me. The door slammed behind me. I jumped in surprise. The sound echoed down the quiet, deserted street. Instinctively, I ran down the road. Somewhere far behind me, I heard this eerie howl growing louder, like a pack of hungry wolves. The sounds grew louder, clearer, and it struck me like an electric shock. I had attracted the attention of a whole crowd of these creatures. There was no turning back. If I tried, I would definitely run into them, nose to nose. I turned sharply into a narrow, dirty alley that smelled of dirt and quickly hid behind a large garbage can. Damn! I'm in trouble. I held my breath. I listened to them rush past me, growling, like a herd of rabid bulls. All I know about them is that they only have two instincts. The first is rabid animal aggression. They are just animals. The second is just brutal hunger. They want to eat all the time. They want to eat constantly, without a break. When it all first started, I saw from the window how they tore people apart and devoured them, while they were still twitching and screaming in pain, and then their victims themselves turned into them. The crowd was huge, definitely 30 of them, maybe more. Who's counting? I have no idea how many of them are still wandering around the city. I thought maybe they'd already gone to other cities, where there were more people. Naive. I'm sitting behind this dumpster. The smell is terrible. Suddenly one of them, staggering as if drunk, comes straight towards me down the alley. The others, fortunately, didn't notice him. They have their own hangout there. That was my first encounter with one of the zombies. Just like that, at arm's length, she noticed me, growled quietly, wheezed and tilted her head to the side. Her neck was covered in dried blood, as if she'd just been turned. She limps badly, but still comes towards me, picking at her feet. Her leg is broken in the middle, and drags along the dirty ground like a whip. Her arms hang dangling like a doll's. Her eyes are strange, light blue, almost white, as if covered in some kind of film. The pupils are almost invisible. Her hair is thin, white, like an old woman's, and her face is pale, all covered in dried blood, distorted into a terrible grimace. Only she extended her hand towards me, bony, so dirty. I slashed my bats at her head, with all my might, and ran in the other direction. I ran out onto the road and looked, and there were 44 more zombies like her. That's where I got it. I turned around abruptly. My heart almost jumped out of my chest with horror. That bloody neck lies where I hit. I approached carefully, trying not to make any noise, to make sure she was definitely the one. Brains, head. She lay there motionless, like a doll. I poked her in the side, beaten. No reaction. I poked her again, just to be sure. Well, I did it. I killed my first zombie. At that moment I felt no relief, only a sickening horror at what I had done, and some kind of pity. I sat there for another 2 hours until the street was completely empty, and I crept back to my house. I agonized over where they all went when they were out of sight. There was still no food. My desperate mission had been a complete failure, but at least I remained alive, and those creatures didn't seem to be coming after me. I'll go again tomorrow. Maybe I'll have better luck. I need to find something clear, otherwise I won't last much longer. In short, my advice to you: prepare for the worst, but always hope for the best, and don't go crazy with fear. Take care of yourself. Stay away from zombies.